The Federal Aviation Administration is expected to issue an order tomorrow that will officially lift the grounding of Boeing's 737 MAX jet. It has been out of service since March of last year after 2 crashes killed more than 300 people. As part of the order, the FAA is requiring new training for pilots to operate an automated flight control system. Investigators say lack of knowledge about that system is what led to those fatal crashes. Airlines began using the plane back in 2017 with 400 planes at the time going into service. In 2018, a 737 MAX crashed in Indonesia, and in 2019, another plane went down in Ethiopia. A total of 346 people died in both of those crashes. Investigators determined they were caused by faulty software. So what exactly does all of that mean for Boeing and for the airline industry as a whole, and what role does the pandemic have in all of this? For the answers, we turn now to Peter Greenberg, an Emmy award-winning investigative reporter and producer known in the travel industry as the Travel Detective. He was also named one of the most influential people in travel by the publication Travel Weekly. Peter, I've watched your work for years, sir. Thanks so much for being back on the show. We certainly appreciate it. Here's the big question. How big of news is this for Boeing, and does it make sense to come back now with the airline industry still hurting because of COVID? Seems like they're dealing with a 1-2 punch here.
Well, Boeing's been trying to get this plane back in the air for a long time. They couldn't get it recertified. The FAA hadn't moved on it yet. Finally, what's happened is the FAA is going to recertify it this week as airworthy. The thing that was keeping it back was because other regulatory agencies in Canada, in Europe, in Africa were not on the same page with the FAA. In fact, they resented any kind of a rush to recertify the plane, because if you go back to the history of the 737 MAX, that's maybe why they got in trouble in the first place, a rush to certification in the first place. But now everybody's on the same page. We expect all the other regulators to follow suit. That doesn't mean the plane's going to fly next week. It means it's going to start flying by the end of this year. American Airlines is going to start a sort of a trial flight on December 29th. That's what's on their schedule from Miami to New York. And then other airlines like United and Southwest, those are the 3 airlines in the U.S. that fly the model, will then follow suit.
Peter, you raise an interesting point. Why was America faster than other countries to recertify? Should we be concerned about that?
Well, we weren't faster. Actually, what happened is the other countries were saying, slow it down. We're not ready. And so the FAA basically took more time to do it. They listened to the pilots, who then insisted we're not going to get back on without additional training because it's a new system. And once that was in place, the other regulators came on board. So this was not a fast process at all. In fact, it was much longer than anybody ever expected.
A year and a half since March of 2019. Let me ask you this too. How does Boeing deal with the public confidence problem? Because this particular aircraft, obviously those 2 horrendous fatal crashes, and then out of commission so long, I would imagine an already weary public looks at this kind of skeptically. How do you bounce back from that when maybe the public isn't ready to jump back on?
Well, it's not just Boeing, it's the airlines operating the plane itself. They need to restore that confidence. Boeing has actually tried to rename the plane from the Boeing 737 MAX to the Boeing 737-8. Doesn't bother me, but there you have it. The other airlines that are coming into it have actually redone their seatback emergency, their emergency seatback placards to just call it a 737. The bottom line is it's still a 737 MAX, and American Airlines has already publicly stated that if you're booked on one and decide you don't want to fly it, they will rebook you on another aircraft type at no additional cost.
Gotcha. A broader question about the airline industry. How do things stand right now, especially with Thanksgiving around the corner? Are people going to jump back on a plane, or is the country still weary?
They're not going to jump back on a plane very fast, even though the expectation was that they would. United Airlines added 1,400 flights to their domestic flight schedule for December because they really thought it was going to happen. It's not. So you're going to see those numbers that you earlier reported stay about the same. We're not really going to see a turnaround until the second quarter of next year.
And as Americans await a possible next stimulus deal, can you talk a little bit about what the airline industry did the last time they were bailed out by the federal government to the tunes of billions of dollars that makes some folks skeptical about another round of bailout money if the industry doesn't rebound as quickly as it would like?
Well, what the airlines did with that money is they kept flying planes and they kept their people on payroll. When that money ran out, which was not that long ago, the airlines already said, once that money runs out, there's no reason to keep flying these planes because we have no passengers. So they furloughed, to this date, about 45,000 people. And more significantly, they're dropping routes. They don't have to, under the bailout provisions, they had to keep flying the routes. Once that expired, they could drop them. So American, United, and Delta have announced the beginnings of about 90 different cities in their route networks. They're going to start dropping. They've already started doing that, and that's going to continue. And for those people living in those cities, you're going to see two things happen. Obviously, you may have to go to another city to begin your airplane flight, or the airfares in your existing city are going to double.
Wow. And literally 5 seconds, how long do you think that things are relatively back to normal in terms of flying?
Well, international flying, a lot longer. Domestic flying, as we see the vaccine come in and the implementation of widespread, rapid response and reliable testing, probably by January or February, you'll start to see a slow rise and then back a little more by summer.
All right, Peter, thank you so much. I appreciate your insight.